welcome you today to Play and Learn with myself, Dr. Susan, and I'm happy you're here with me this morning. And I have the most gorgeous book to show you today. And the title of the book is Maybe. Not maybe I'm going to show you the book, but the title of the book is Maybe. And it's by Kobe Yamanda. And we've done several of his books before, and you'll kind of get that by looking at the pictures that I'm going to show you. But the book is all about maybe. That has a whole big spectrum of things that we can play with and think about, and it's really a book of just questions. And so we'll take a look at what questions it might pose for you, or maybe somebody you know, or your family, any of those things. So we're going to read the story, and then we'll take a look, and we may flip back to the book a little while later just to show you a couple of pictures that really meant a whole lot to me. And so let's not waste one more minute. Let's take a look at the story called Maybe. So let's go. Why am I here? That's a very good question. So let's take a look. And if you take a look at the picture, there's a little pig and a butterfly. And the illustrations are done by Gabrielle Barouche. And so let's take a look and see what we have. Have you ever wondered why you're here? And I love the pictures. And I couldn't figure out why she's wearing a hat that looks like a bird. But you'll understand that in just a little while. You are the only you that ever has been or ever will be. You have so much to offer. And we're going to wait just a second on this page and to just take a look at the different things that are laying on the ground and the animals. There's a pig and a bird and a deer. And there's also a little bunny. And there's another bird sitting on the back of the deer. It's so pretty, and the flowers. Maybe you will invent something that no one else has ever seen before. Can you imagine that? In this picture we have a squirrel and birdhouses. And there looks like it's not a possum. I can't remember what the animal's called, but we'll discover that. Let's take a look at the next picture. Maybe you'll build things that reach high into the sky. Boy, that's quite a set of houses, isn't it? I wonder if she's building birdhouses, but it's certainly beautiful, isn't it? Your life is yours. There are so many things as you can try, as much as you can see. Let's say that again. Try as many things as you can try. See as much as you can see. Trip across the water. Wherever you go, take your hopes, pack your dreams, and never forget, it is on journeys that discoveries are made. And that may not be discoveries about the world around you. It may be the discoveries of yourself. She has all kinds of cool things in those glass jars, doesn't she? Maybe you will help others to see the beauty in each day. Or maybe you will lift cheering crowds onto their feet. Maybe you run races or play a sport, or maybe even act in a movie. Or maybe you'll just be you. Do everything you love. Follow your heart and see where it leads you. Could be amazing places. Maybe you are here to shine a light into places that have been dark for so very long. You're going to release the light into the world. Maybe you are here to help in ways that only you can. No one else has the time, the talent, or the abilities for whatever that magic is. There will be struggles. There will be fears. And it won't always be easy. At times it will feel really hard. And as you might make a mess of things, you may fall down. You may fail. But you will also get back up and you will rise a little stronger and a little taller, because there really is more inside of you that you know. And this world needs your gifts, your talents, your big ideas. And maybe you are just getting started. What if you are only scratching the surface of what you can do and who you can be? On this page, notice that on the flowers they're little ladybugs, and the little pig is chasing one of them. What if you have talents you haven't discovered yet? There is something powerful, even magical about you. You already have everything it takes to do big things. Look how creative she is. You may have no idea just how good you really can be. And maybe you don't know how much you matter. But maybe, just maybe, the world has been waiting centuries for someone exactly like you. One thing is for sure, you are here, and because you are here, anything is possible. And as you notice, the pig is flying along with the butterflies. Anything is possible. The end. All right. I love the artwork that the author and the artist did. It is so beautiful, and it says so many things. A lot of us look at a book and we see the book and we just see the book. It's a very pretty book and it has lots of nice little words in it. But sometimes there's a book that you might read, and in reading it, it says so much to you. It tells you things that, wow, maybe I could do that. Or that looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to try it. And you try it. And maybe it wasn't as exciting as it looked. Or it was like, oh, I'm just not ready to do that. Sometimes we decide on doing something and we look at it and get everything all together and decide, oh, I'm going to do this. But the more you get into it, it really doesn't resonate with you. And you do the best you can with where you are at that moment in time. And you finish the project, or it's a project that just is beyond you. And sometimes that's when we step in and ask someone else to help us, to see if we could really discover what that was about and what was stopping us from moving forward with it. And sometimes what stops us from moving forward is it isn't for us. And sometimes that feels like you failed in that project or in doing that. But in actuality, failure is a step to learning. We learn so many things when we aren't able to accomplish something we thought we already knew. When we know that when we do that, we look at it and go, okay, this isn't something I was supposed to do. This isn't something that was really resonating with me. So you stepped a little further. But the greatest part about this whole book is that it talks about who you are, who I am. And there's no limit to what we can do, which is the whole wonderful part about the story. Yesterday, I received a gift in the mail from my sister, and she lives up in Bishop. And she sent me this beautiful bracelet. It doesn't look like very much until you actually look close at it. So I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to read some of the things that it says on it. And this really depicts a lot about the story. And I thought it was kind of cool that I got this yesterday. And I knew once I looked at it and reflected on the story that I was going to be sharing with you this morning, that it says so much. So I'm going to tell you, read some of the things that it says on there. It says, keep calm. And then it says, don't worry. Then it says, persevere. Persevere is a very strong word. It means you keep going. Even if you fail, you step up and do it again. And this one says, learn. We learn things when we persevere. And this one says, have passion. Passion about something you like to do. Improve. You can improve every single day. And this one says, inspire. And this one says, live healthy. And this one says, breathe. That's such an important word, breathe. And this one says, be positive. Believe. Focus. Think. Relax. Enjoy life. Embrace love. Be happy. Reflect. And then we're back to keep calm. It says so many things that book said without saying the words. When you saw her in the story and she was drawing the butterfly, it looked like it was on a wall. And it just wasn't what she wanted, so she scratched it out. But because it wasn't what she wanted and it didn't look exactly like she wanted it to look, she felt like she wasn't capable of doing it. And at that moment in time, she wasn't. And that's okay. So you decide, well, what else can I do? I know a lot of us right now are back in school, but you're doing school from home. And you're working on doing things on the computer. And that's got to be a little bit harder than not being able to face with your teacher and have all your classmates around you that you can ask questions and do things with. And that seems like a hard thing to do. And it's harder to focus, too, because there's all these things around us distracting us. And when you're in the classroom, it's a little bit different story. You're a little more focused on what you're doing. But the great thing about all of this, I know sometimes we go, gosh, all this is awful and awful and awful, and nothing's good's coming out of it. Yet, there is. And this book kind of shows us that. We have the potential. We have the passion. We have all those things that help us create that kind of stuff. And when you're sitting in front of the computer and you're just looking at pictures or papers and all this other kind of stuff, and sometimes it feels like you're not accomplishing anything. But what you are doing is you're giving yourself the potential that maybe this is going to put something into your life that you didn't have before. Some little thing. And the little things add up to the great, big, huge things. And so the thoughts I had about this story, and I thought, well, what in the world could I create or make that would remind me when I looked at what I created about the story? Well, there's no one like me, just me, nowhere else. And what I have and what I've learned and what I've done has got me to here today, where I am today. And I can tell you that when I was your age, 7, 8, 9 years old, I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be doing something like this. I know there was lots of shows. I know you don't watch the shows and they're not on television anymore, but there was a show that was put on, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a lady that taught kids in a classroom, but it was on television. And all the stuff that she talked about, I thought that was so fascinating. I thought, well, that would be a really fun thing to do. And that was just a thought I had. I didn't really do anything with it at that moment in time, but it planted a seed or a thought within me that maybe that was me later. And look what, it is. And I was amazed when I thought back about that. I would just remember the title of the show. It was called Romper Room. And I know that was a very long time ago, and none of you have ever seen that. But when you get on the science shows that they have, that there's a scientist that shows you how to do experiments to prove things, to prove how this works and that works. And maybe that'll be you. Or maybe, if you like space and things like that, maybe you'll go to another planet. Wouldn't that be interesting? Maybe. There isn't anything to say that it cannot be. It's all what we put our time and effort into. But what I really was amazed by and what really touched me was the flowers when she was watering, standing on the flower, watering the flower, and also the butterflies. The butterflies were something that I just love the butterflies. I have butterfly bushes in my front yard. And there's certain times of the day, there's just so many butterflies going around the plant. And believe it or not, the plant is called the butterfly plant. And it attracts butterflies. I don't know why. It just does. But it's so beautiful to sit and watch them. They're so light and fluffy, and they flow. And there seems to be nothing that stops them from doing what they're doing. And to me, that's freedom. Is there anything that stops you from doing what you're doing? So I thought, just for fun, that I would go ahead and create something that would remind me of when I read the story. So I'm going to share with you, I know a lot of you have probably already done this before, but it's still fun, and it's a little different, is that I created, I folded the paper already, and I'll pull it out like this so you can see it. And this is actually birthday paper. I thought, oh, we're going to have a birthday butterfly, so we're going to make a butterfly. And you fold the paper, and I'll show you in a second how you fold it so that it makes like an accordion. But I think most of you know that. But I'm going to take this and fold it like that and leave it spread out just a little bit so it looks like butterfly wings. I'm going to flip this over so you can see it better. So it looks like butterfly wings, and you see the color. I think you can see that. So you can see the color. Okay? And I have a pipe cleaner. These are called bumpy pipe cleaners. And it has a little bump right here. And the bump, I'm going to cut right at the top of that with my scissors and take that and put it around this part of the butterfly and just kind of twist it. I'll do it again so you can see. You just twist. I just turn all the paper, and that makes it easier to twist it. So then we have this center. So that's the center of the butterfly's body right there, like that. Now, butterfly wings are curved, and they don't have the bumpy edges. So I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm just going to draw a little curve like this on the side, and take my scissors and just cut all the way through. And this is very thick paper, so it's a little bit of effort to go around. There we go. So now I have round edges. And see the texture good around the butterfly edge? So do the same thing on the other side. You can do this if you want to. You don't have to do it this way. As we always, when I share with you, when I create something, that we always have the opportunity to do it however we want. So this side's cutting a little easier. I don't know why. But anyway. There we go. Little. And now we have edges like that. And then, of course, butterflies have feelers, right? So we need to create some feelers. It's like this. There it is. And we're going to cut those. And I'm going to add those to this part. And then I'm just going to press up. Like that, so you can see that. We're going to put a piece of tape on that holds the little feelers for the butterfly. Okay. So you can see the feelers. Butterflies, their little feelers are at the end. They just have a little bit of a curve to them. So you make it as fancy as you want. So there's the feelers to our butterfly, like that. And butterflies, to me, when you see them, I know the life of a butterfly is not very long, but they also move the seeds and the nectar and stuff they get from the flowers. They move it on to other flowers and things like that. And the pollen they pick up with their feet. You know butterflies had feet? I didn't know that till I looked really close in a magazine with a magnifying glass, and they have little tiny feet, which I think is really cool. So there's that part there. Now, if you want to be fancy, you can. And I have these, I have to go off the edge of the table to get it. But you can do the little eyes if you want to put eyes on the butterfly. But these are a little big for that. So we'll do it just with that. But the butterfly itself reminded me of, and when I look at it, reminds me about freedom and about I have the freedom to make the choices I want to make on whatever those happen to be. So this is a birthday candle butterfly. So there's the little butterfly, just like that. So I thought that was, and they're really easy to make, and they're fun. And then you can put a little string around them, and you can hang them up like that. But I didn't bring any string to do that. The other part that I saw that I really liked that meant a lot to me too is flowers. Flowers bring so much joy. At least to me they do. They have so much joy, and they have the beauty and the smell, and it reminds you of the beautiful nature that we get to live in and things like that. So I thought I would make a flower to remind me of the flowers in the story. And that was I believe those were poppies, was the name of the flowers that she was watering and taking care of. And that's one of the important things about flowers, is that if you grow them in your yard, you still have to take care of them. I mean, nature takes care of the growing and that kind of thing, but you have to be sure they have water and the nutrients and things in the ground that help them grow. So that's some of the things that you get to learn about when you decide that you're going to have flowers. Because we make a choice. Just like we make a choice about lots of things that we want to do, there's things that go along with it. It's called responsibility when we make a choice about doing something. And part of that helps us to grow, helps us decide if this is what we want to do or not. So with the flower, I'm using the same paper, is that I thought I would make a flower. I did the same thing. It's accordion fold is what this is called. And I'll get back to that part in just a second. Okay, I'm going to take my double stick tape here, and I'm going to lay it on one side of this, and kind of hopeful that the tape is the same size as my fold. You take it in the middle where I folded it, and put it there. Then you take this part, the part that's next to it, and you stick it together. Just like that. And you just press it like that. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Same thing with the tape. And lay the tape on this part. There we go. You have to kind of maneuver the paper around, but lay it on top of that fold. And if you have excess, you can always just cut it off. Just like that. And then bring that piece from the other side over to that edge. And it will stick together, just like that. So then I've created a flower, simply by folding paper. And this is thick paper, but there's a flower, right like that. That's easy to do. And you can, I brought some, I think we'll do a green stem. And then you have two little holes. You have a little hole here and a little hole there. So you can take this, bring it through the back, up to the front, just like that. And then you go down to the other one. And this is kind of pulls your flower together and keeps it together. Let's see, push up just a little tiny bit more. You can pull it down. And in the back, you twist it. Like this, and you have created a flower. It doesn't quite look like the poppy seed flower that she was taking care of, but it's a very pretty flower. And the other thing, of course, when I think of things like this, I thought of some of the words that was on my bracelet that I might want to go ahead and take and write some of those things on the flower petal all the way around. So when I look at it, it reminds me about what the flower meant to me when I saw it in the story. And it inspired, looking at the flower inspired me to say, oh, I think I'll make a pretty flower. That's kind of fun. And it's creative, and it's just fun to do for me. That's a fun thing I enjoy doing. And if you like doing that, I'll show you really quickly how you go about doing the accordion fold. All right? So you could just take the big piece of paper like I have here. You could take this big piece of paper, or you could cut it and make it very small. It depends on what you want to do. You can fold it in half, and then you can fold it in half again if you want a little tiny flower. So let's do the folding it in half again, because then our flower would have company. Company is always nice to have. So we'll do this. And then you cut the paper in half like this. These are quarters. And then I'm going to cut this one again. Just like that. Set those aside. This has tape on it. And you start it like this. You lay the paper and you fold towards you. I call it a quarter-inch fold, but it doesn't have to be a quarter-inch. It can be whatever width you want. You can have a small flower with big folds. And then you flip the paper back the other way. The long side's on this side now. And you crease it. Now the plain side is facing you. Flip it. You just keep flipping it back and forth if you haven't made these before. Just like this. And these are fun too to do if you enjoy doing this. These are fun to do where you can make the flowers and you can give them as a gift. Or you can make a flower vase and make these pretty flowers for someone that maybe needs some cheering up or some happy thoughts and happy feelings. Okay, so now we have the accordion fold. See, there you go. And now we're going to fold it in half and do the same thing we did with the bigger one. That's folded. And then we take the same thing with the tape. I'm just going to take a smaller piece. And we're going to tape it on this side too, just like that. And take these two pieces just like we did with the big one. And just compress it like that. Now, the other thing is, if you left it just like this, you have a little fan. So you can fan yourself too, so you can make a fan. I mean, that's what we used to do when I was in school, is we used to fold the paper in half when it was hot outside, and then we made our own fan, created our own air conditioning. And by now, with the weather that we're having, you could use a fan like that, so you could make a fan if you wanted to. And then you could go around and do the same thing with this and flip it around. Well, this is pretty small, so I guess what we want to do is Yeah, this is small. We really need the bigger paper. But how we can fix that is we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with this piece as we did with the other one, and do the same folding, and then you just tape it again, and you're going to tape it like that. And also, we've just created another thing. If you want to create some decorations, now we've created a book design. And if you fold it like this, and you open a page like this, you've created a 3D picture. See what we just did? I wouldn't have thought about that a few minutes ago, but we just did. So if we tape this to this and we folded this in half, let's do that really quick, because I know we're almost out of time, but we'll do this really quick. And have you seen those pop-up books that you get at the store? Well, this is kind of how they make the pop-ups. It's on how they fold the paper. Okay? So now we have, maybe this is the, maybe we've made a little bed for a doll, and this is the headboard of the doll bed. So, and if this was a book, it would be closed like, we would close it like this, fold it in half, and just put a crease there. And then when you opened up the page, your fan would appear, just like that. It could be a fan or a flower garden. You know, you put some leaves down here. So you have made a pop-up. So that's another way to do that. So see, maybe we created something like that. Did we think about that in the beginning? No, but we did. Look at that. So just taking a piece of paper and some Scotch tape and a little bit of our time, we've made a pop-up. If you want to make a pop-up, that's a fun card to send to somebody too, that you may write a little note down here, put it in an envelope, close it like that, and when they pop it up, there's a little flower for them, just like that. So there's another thing that we've created out of just looking at that book that gave us ideas, that gave us ways in which we could make a difference, ways that things that we didn't think about before. And we have all those things inside of us, and we simply allow them to be and take chances, like they said in the story. Try something new, try something you haven't done before. So we have a flower, we have a pop-up page, and we have a butterfly. So there we have created some fun stuff out of a story that says maybe. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. But you have to remember, you're the only one, just you, that's here to make a difference in whatever way you make a difference. Whether that's bringing smiles to people, helping people, entertaining people, creating things for people to wear, for things to people to use. You just never know what you're going to do. So whatever you decide to do today, know that you're the only one that could possibly do it. All right? Have a great day, a great week, and I look forward to spending time with you soon. Take care.